Hello, I'll be doing like a lot before I go to bed. I'm super tired. This is super tired, so yep. I'm just gonna watch, and if I see anything worth noting, I'll just say, yeah, so I'm tired, but the VOD's like 16 minutes. Okay. So, let me just turn my music down a little bit. My bad. I'll just put on like some instrumental music. You're watching this, just skip past this part. I need to, yeah, here we go. Yep, hopefully you're back now, or if you didn't skip it, whatever, I was switching music. So first mistake on a team level slash micro level slash macro level, whatever it may be, is when you're taking this rotation right here, you would like to be through it as 6, since they have a Mei. Like, when you're walking as a team, like through here, you say, oh, they're looking to fight us right when we drop, because you can see that they're rotating over. So since they have a Mei, you can like interpret that, oh, they might try to wall some of us off and split us. So let's amp speed and walk through as 6, so hopefully no one gets left behind. Not really your fault, but something to think about. And it's just a really messy fight. Yep, shoot lamp, that's important. Like, what I see a lot of the time is like you'll end up in like the most random of spots. Like the point, you were the team was fighting around here, and you ended up like right here while your team was playing back there. So don't really know how to coach awareness. I'm not much of a genius, but just try to like look around and I know this was like very messed up and scuffed, but like understand where your team is, where the enemy team is, and where you would like to play, and that's next to the Reinhardt. So once you're in here, you can look around and say, oh, my team is kiting, I'm gonna kite back with them instead of running in deeper. So I understand, like, since this is like a super scuffed fight, you probably know this, but you just kind of forgot it, probably because it was super scuffed. That happens. Gets like kind of tricky, but if you commit it to memory now, it's easier to just act upon in the middle of a team fight. And like, team fights are super scuffed. And if you get, okay, so it's the fight is like basically over. Yeah, I know you're not down any, but let me just watch. Yeah, this is a super scuff fight. Like, no one's really dying. Okay. So you're down 3. So when you're down 3, you need to die. Okay. This is I'm just gonna open up my notepad. Okay. Wait, I mean, whatever. Yep. So 1 down. So down 1 to 2 players, right? You need to, or let me say, like, down 3 to 4. I'll talk about more about like when you're down 1 and 2, but when you're down 3 to 4, you need to die, and you need to die. Okay. So that means you are not using ice block, nor are you like using wall to save yourself, because that's stalling. So what you really want to do is to die right now, so you can spawn back with your team, so you don't like stall your so you don't stall your team. If you get out, fine, but if you die here, that's just stalling. Yep. Unless you're maybe, I know you play Zarya, like, unless you're a high charge Zarya, then your priority is to live. Because, you know, high charge Zarya's mid-fight carry. I think I've said that to you guys before. But you'd like to live. So you, on high charge Zarya, like on Lucia, like I told Blank, if there's a high charge Zarya, what you could do is he could speed in, boop the enemies back, and sacrifice himself for you to live. But that's just like, you know, a niche thing. But when you're down 3-4, the fight's over, and you lost it, I'll talk about it if you win it maybe later if it's relevant, but you need to die. I mean, get ult charge, maybe just right click, but don't use any cooldowns to try to like save yourself. So that means left click, since you may freeze someone, and then they might get unfrozen and kill you, but yeah. I don't hate this wall, but I think it's a little bit of a waste. Like Ryan can just shield it, and then you can use this wall to block off heals from the enemy Ryan, so it's kind of a waste. I'm just gonna see it. Yeah, like, I mean, they were in a position to kind of do damage to you, but you know, you have Ryan, you have DM, so when crossing the sight line, I realistically wouldn't use wall here, but, you know, not a big deal. You get it back in 8 seconds, you know. Unlucky you get cut off from Rhine, but as, what's your name, Mei, you need to be next to him and freezing on people he is swinging on. So, instead of being behind here right clicking, you know, I would I'd like be next to him and freezing people. Like, your priority is not right click in this situation, your priority is left click, because, let's see, I talk about ebb and flow a lot, but, so you have team 1, team 2, you know, Ryan 1, Ryan 2, you know, Reinhardt is pushing forward, right? Reinhardt 2 is trying to kite back, right? But if your team has speed plus and like freeze / slow, you know, you are going really fast, and the Reinhardt is also going really slow back. So it means the ebb and flow play is kind of hard because they can't really kite any damage. I mean, not just the enemy Ryan you want to freeze, but you know, anyone the Ryan is swinging on, because it can't really kite back. I mean, you get a kill, you know, but you're Ryan, so it doesn't really matter. And this would be a good time to wall. Yep, like you do. Trying to get the Ryan, I think you were trying to get the Ryan, like, cut off, but, you know, you have no follow-up, so I would just wall it, so maybe someone doesn't get picked. It's not a big deal. I'm not really much of a Mei, I'm not too much of a Mei player, but I played her like once or twice in a tournament when our DPS player was not there. But besides the point, but this piano playlist is super good. So, okay, so right here, I'd be looking to maybe engage with your ult with your Blizzard. So, what I would like to do is throw Blizzard behind them, so then they cannot kite, and then the only option they have is to match with, you know, with their ults. But, I would also watch out for DM, and then, you know, Blank, I know he doesn't ult track a lot, but should know essentially what ults they have, so you could look to count, or so you could look to like just counterplay their ults if you want to start. But normally, I don't love to initiate the ebb and flow with ults first. It's just kind of tough. I'm just gonna open Notepad again. I think I went over this, but you know, I'll use a Brig example. So team 1 has Brig, team 2 has Brig. You get really close to the team while using your ults, then you know team 1 ends up here, and then right in front of team 2, and they have no ultimates, right? And then team 2 pushes back in with ultimates, and you just kind of and then the team backs up or they die, whatever. So yeah, but you know what you can do is just get really close, like how you want in Rush. So team 1, you walk close to team 2, so then you end up right here. Then you can just push into them and they die. You know, or you just push into one person who's separated. You know, it's not really something you need to know that much. So this would be a good time to Blizzard. Let me just go back. Let's rotate our. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna. I don't really feel like. So you know Diva is out of mech, could be massive Blizzard, like boom right now. And plus, you know, you're even right now, so you know you can use ultimates to get the fight. I don't really need to talk about that. I was gonna talk about like what happens when you're down like 1 or 2 in a fight, but I don't really think I need to. You know, would have been a good Blizzard, because you should be tracking, you know, DM, and then you're up 2, right? Or you were up 2, right? No DM from the Diva, you know, pretty good ultimate choice. I don't know if you're going for that here, but I mean, that's the only reason you would end up so far in front of your line, I think. Let me just look at it from like a macro view. I'm going to bed after this. I don't really know. I may look at the VOD like tomorrow, and in hindsight, yeah, that was fine, but like, I mean, realistically, your Ryan should not be shield botting like that. Realistically, you should be speeding, but realistically, you as well should not be playing this far in front. That's another thing with like awareness I was talking about earlier. So talk about where your team is, where the enemy team is, and where you want to play. So right now you're only looking at where the enemy team is, not really where your team is and where you really want to play. You don't want to play in front of the Rhine, because you know, if this creep was any better, or Cassie, whatever you want to call him, he double taps you. You don't get timed ice block. You know, all 4 of these guys shoot at you. You're really overextended right now. And maybe like if you were playing back here, you wall enemy aggro to stabilize. Or maybe even you wall the Rhine off, but you know, that's your call. If you think that you can kill the Rhine when there's like a Diva bomb right there, and then I think you just die. Alright, so the fight is still winnable. I would throw it. I would throw the ult. Okay, and then they throw the ult. Yeah, see, the enemy Mei had the right idea. So the enemy Mei saw that, like, you know, we're even. I'm gonna throw Blizzard to try to secure this fight, and that's what I think you should have done. So you throw the Blizzard here. Ryan hits the shatter. You know, maybe you die maybe, but then these guys kill the Mei, but then all these guys are frozen, so he maybe kills 2 of them, and then the rest of the 3 players can sweep up them, you know. I mean, in the moment, maybe, kind of tough, but, yep. Hopefully this doesn't go on for too long, but, you know, it's not really a big deal. I have time. Okay, and you're dead. And I'll like go over the VODs tomorrow, and if you want, I can like give you like a TLDR text. But I just find like doing this much easier, so I can just like talk about it when I see it. I mean, okay, so they didn't really go for you, okay. Yeah, I like spamming here, that's fine. You need to wall for your team, unless you want to speed boost across. either one of these choices. Either you as 6 you speed amp across, you can jump across that, I'm pretty sure, or you wall and your team walks across. Either or. It should have been called. I probably was not called. Actually really good. I like that. Yeah, I think I like that. Gives your team a lot of space, separates the diva from the enemy. They're all split, essentially. So that is really good for rush comp. So your team can rush that, or your team can rush that. But so essentially these guys are cut off from these guys and these guys. And when we're playing rush, we really want to split the enemy team up so we can just run at one target. So I like that. Maybe get a kill, yep. But that's not really the point. Your team kind of trolls by getting shattered, not killing the diva fast enough, but that's not your fault. So realistically, your Ryan should have walked around here and then dropped, or you should have been with your Ryan up here and then drop. I think the latter option, like your Ryan plus you drop right here while the Cassidy walks around here, while the Baptiste is playing right here, and maybe the diva is like sitting right here, whatever. But that's kind of, either or it works. Either you could leave like the Kree and the Bap up here, you two drop as a unit right here with the diva like flying in and out, but I like the, that's besides the point, kind of. I don't know. Yeah, and like I said, you should be tied to your Ryan, maybe freezing if you can. Like the Ryan gets, your Ryan is a little bit of a shield bot. Nothing against him, he's just shield botting a little bit. Like, you're in, I don't know, I'm coaching the Ryan, whatever, but in Ryan, he's not really a shield bot anymore. He does more damage per swing, moves faster with shield, and that's why you need to be next to him, because he's more of a brawler instead of a shield protector. In scrims, he should be shielding to enable his team, but in a rush, he doesn't really need to do that. So that's why you need to be next to him and not just sitting on high ground spamming. On other heroes, yes, you do want to be sitting on high ground or off angling, but you see he dies because he just gets run over because you had like no support. And you don't ice block, you're nice. Okay. Ah. I don't hate this actually. That's a lot of value shooting through the lamp or whatever the window. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about it. What happens, especially in the ebb and flow dynamic. Okay. So ults go off. I'm just gonna try to, ebb and flow this kinda. So your team beat on your team, beat to respond on the enemy team. So beat on your team, beat on their team to kind of respond. Window on your team, and then shatter on your team. And in the ebb and flow dynamic, things happen. Maybe they can't respond, so now you should be pushing in. Right? And they should be looking to kite back around this corner. So that's why you need to be next to your Rhine, so then they can't actually kite. Or they just match and then they die, okay. Oh yeah, they use ult, okay, that makes sense actually. So I guess it was actually good that you didn't push in, but they just played super weird. So I would actually do, so maybe I'd run into these team and maybe freeze this Mei so she doesn't actually get off Blizzard. Or maybe if you're sitting here freezing, maybe Creed dies before he can actually get High Noon off, you know? You know, just like minor things. But, I mean, this isn't the worst decision possible. I mean, it's not horrible, you know? But maybe if you're up there, maybe they didn't get Blizzard off or whatever. I mean, maybe it's fine that they use these ults just to, you know, sweep up their ult economy a little bit. Just so they waste a few on like a definitely not winnable fight, but you know, that's like in hindsight thing. Yeah, so especially without, I think you, what the fuck? Okay, wait, besides, so I think you can see the issue in this. So on I don't know if you were playing Mei today on or yesterday, whatever, on Blizzard World, but you kind of went into, or the Mei player, whatever, I don't know if it was you, but went into their backline essentially and fed, and you guys lost the fight on second point because you're down one. This is kind of the same thing. Like if they had a Lucio and they like knew how to play properly, you know, you're dead, you know. Like maybe they're playing this corner with the Lucio and then they just kill you, you know. Just be careful. I know you have ice block, you have wall, whatever. And like sitting here while the team is here, that's like being here like a couple seconds earlier, like you know your I saw you look back, like you know your team is like fairly far behind a little bit, and by standing here out, like, you know, maybe if this guy's aim was like not a potato, he double taps you, you know. So I just like wait around corner, yeah, like this, yeah, wait for the team, or like wait for your main tank who you're kind of partnered with, because, you know, if I can't see what's going on, if I don't know what's going on just by looking at you, you do not really know either. So you just have to be, you know, mindful of where your team is positioning. Like you don't swing this far around the corner, you know. So you don't swing this far around corner. You know, they speed boost into, I mean, actually, you know, I don't hate this, but, you know, just be careful. Good wall. Unlucky, but, yeah, I mean, I think you use ice block as a little bit of a crutch for being in dangerous situations. I'm not a Mei player, so I don't really know, but, like, you get the wall behind you, and your first decision is to walk forward instead of walk backwards. I mean, maybe you didn't know there was you know, like a space, a gap, but, you know, like Lucio should be calling like a gap on right, you know. Probably didn't, like, I know he doesn't like to call, but, you know, so instead you just kite back, maybe like around corner, you know, or even like right here, because there's something like wrong about this picture. Like your front line is here and then you are here, like you're gonna die. I'd like to see you die. I'd like to see you get punished for it. You probably won't, actually. I mean, maybe, most likely. Yeah, so you get punished, but like super late. So like a thing in these lobbies, maybe like up to like high plat, mid plat. So like things happen in this game, but they just happen really slowly in these elos. Like someone will make a misplay and the enemies can only capitalize on it like after it actually happens, like a while after it happens. So you just have to be like, you know, like I said, good thing before the fight starts, look at where your team is, look at where the enemy team is, and think about where you want to position. Just helps with game sense as well. And if you have an ultimate, you know, you can think about how do I want to use this ultimate, what can they do to avoid it, and how do they want to avoid it, you know. So, you know, maybe like if I use ultimate, like what can counter it, you know. Diva Bomb maybe. If they had Beat, you know, Beat maybe can counter it. They maybe be able to shatter and then push in, avoiding it, you know. Just things like when, yeah. Yeah, and I don't hate, like right clicking before the fight starts, like poking, good. I'll talk about that after, but you know, when trying to wall, I think you know this, but you know, you don't have to just wall off the supports, you know, I think you know. Could be just mechanics, unlucky, but if I was doing the Giz Toxic coaching, I would be playing like Playboy Cardi or something. Unlucky, so kind of a team thing, like no one's playing around corner, but you know, you sit behind Ryan, you're tied to Ryan, but you're tied next to him and behind him, not in front of him, kind of like the I know you play a little bit of Zarya, but you know, Zarya, Reinhardt, Zarya likes to sit Zarya likes to sit next to Reinhardt. So Zarya and then the Reinhardt, you know. And then, you know, when the Reinhardt starts pushing in, though, Zarya takes a little small off angle to the left. And then whoever the Reinhardt is swinging on, let's say another Reinhardt, Zarya just shoots at him, you know. You're kind of like a Zarya, but as Mei, but you're like tied next to the Reinhardt and you don't really take an off angle. I mean, you can take off angle pressure, but like off angle pressure is always good, but I don't think you should have done that. And you know, MTD, Reinhardt shattered. Unlucky. Hey. This is a minor thing, you know what you could do? So you come up here, you know, you int onto cart, you click your Q, and then you just shift, you know. Of course, you gotta watch out for, you know, me. If I was the enemy, if I jump down here and I throw Blizzard, or I'm going to, if I was him, no, I just flash you, you know. If I was a diva, I just right click, but you know, you gotta watch out for it. So maybe, I mean, of course Kree's up here, but maybe you can come with him, you know, you peek a little bit, maybe you see Diva has no DM and maybe Cassidy's distracted, you jump down, you know, you throw a Blizzard, or you know, I probably wouldn't do this, yeah, but you see how, like, yeah, I like this, but you know, they can easily kite back. Of course they don't, because they're bad, but yeah. So, you know what you could do? You could, like, run onto cart, like, right here, throw it, like, and then, you know. Yeah. So, I like to throw blizzards behind the enemy team, or behind close into them, because, you know, they just kite around this corner, gets little to no value. But, you know, if you throw it like right here maybe, they're forced to walk into your team or else they die, you know. So blank speed, you know, you're sending it, like you're hype, you know, you're going for it, and then you're in the middle of the team with ice block in, you know. Once the team comes up, you on ice block, like the team is like, oh shit, they're gonna walk back normally, probably. Oh, well, I know, in this, like, either, like, anything happens, but, you know, they should be looking to walk back. They realize, oh, the freeze is behind us, but then by that time, you know, your team is, like, you know, let me just do, like, team 1, team 2, team 1, team 2, you know, team 1 is pushing in, and then team 2 is like, oh, let's push back, you know, but then there's, like, a wall right here. And then they're kind of like stuck against the wall, so their only option is to push back forward, you know. But you know, these guys are you know, these guys, like, well, they're not coordinated to do that, so they'll probably just end up like running in all directions, and your team, who should be coordinating, if this guy and this guy are talking, you know, they should be pushing in. Oops. Hopefully this isn't too long, you know, it is what it is, whatever. It's been 29 minutes, bro. Hopefully you have time, like, while you're eating lunch or something, just watch this. Hopefully it's not too boring. Ow. Hopefully the piano is nice. I don't hate this, actually. Maybe you go for the pick. This is actually your Reinhardt's fault for not taking this corner. I spoke a little bit about corner play, corner. So in a corner to corner fight, you want to take the corner, because once you take the corner, then it's a corner to open space fight, And your Ryan should be up here trying to take this corner, then corner, open space, corner, open space. Realistically though, so Bap and Kree, or one of them stays on card, like probably not Lucio, honestly, because you can't kite or anything. But your team plays right here, right? So then or maybe you can call this, so I guess it's important, so you know this, but your team comes over here, they take this corner, like, and I'm sure if you've ever played Reinhardt, it's hell to walk into this, because they just peek, right? They peek around, they kite back, it's kind of tough, and then you gotta, and then it's especially if a Lucio, they're coming to take the corner, you just amp speed back, and then you got a corner to open space fight, it's not really like your individual thing, but it's more of like a thing you can call if you like calling out targets, whatever. And then maybe you wall them here, yeah, like that. Again, you're staying in a little too long in front of your iron shield. Not a big deal, kind of what I said earlier. I may do like a video for each of the VODs, maybe not, maybe just, yep. You don't really need to be right next to your Ryan as long as you're, getting the value done with the slow. Sorry about that. I just blue screened them. I think it's right as the second half started. Piano music again, I recommend this playlist in scrims, as well as the off monitor. Like, no joke, this is super powerful. The untilt, like, you may think I'm joking, but I'm really not. Just go to second half. Probably be in. Okay. So like half the game is done. Okay, first thing, I spoke about this earlier, but your team does not want, let me just pull up Epic Pen. Your team does not want to play in here with you, neither do you really. So let me just lay out how I would play this. So I would lay like Ryan here, you here, Mei, with like the Kree, Bap, Cassie, whatever he is called, I don't really know, and maybe Diva right here, maybe Diva right here, maybe Diva right here, or what I did in the scrimmer earlier on King's Row again, I played Diva in here. This is powerful. I mean, it's like, let me just turn on the musical tab. So, you know why it's powerful? I mean, not really. You played off tank, so I'm just gonna. I guess this is relevant, and maybe you can tell your team this. So you play in here, right? You wait. Maybe you can scout if they're coming up here. Like, you just boost their way. But so when the team is the enemy team is walking in, you come up here. You start DMing, and then like maybe Bab's heal does not go to Ryan. I don't really need to talk about it, but essentially your entire team does not want to play here, just to rush. And by playing Mei, Ryan, and Diva, your team can still rush effectively. You don't need to be clumped together. Like I don't know whose call this was. Maybe Blank's. I don't know. Like you kind of like, I'll just like show you what I mean. I'll pull back. So like, this is hell for Bap to play in here. Like, he can't really see anything, He can heal, but he has to like shoot indiscriminately. So is Kree. That's besides really the point. Like maybe just like I think you're waiting for the Reinhardt to wall. Let me see. I'm just gonna see and then I'll say what I wanted to say. Like, I think you're maybe waiting for the Reinhardt to walk through. They expect this. They expect the wall from you playing like this. And if the team plays more spread out, they may not, like, expect the Mei sitting right here, because they look just at the Reinhardt and at the rest of the team, which doesn't really look like they're gonna rush. But besides the point, you know, you wall maybe the D.Va, right? Of course, she has boosters, but, you know, you amp speed. If you're gonna play like this, you amp speed, and you freeze the D.Va, you slow the D.Va, and maybe it's enough pressure for her to die. Cause, like, you know, if you're playing, maybe it probably takes this player like 2 seconds to maybe realize that they're walled, and maybe that's enough time to capitalize on it, you know. And they know, obviously know. We're gonna get walled, so let's walk in as 6 and maybe flash you to stun you out. Like, you see how they attempted to, you know, walk in as 6. And, you know, the wall may not be as powerful, because the only person who can't get over the wall is the DPS, and the DPS aren't really important for stabilizing, so when they get walled, they want to stabilize. So the entire team jumps over the wall, and maybe they walk right together, you know. So they, you know, maybe, yeah, I know it's like plat, gold, it may be uncoordinated, you know, whatevers. If I can be blue screen skin, I'm gonna be pissed off, you know. I like this, you know. And then you freeze block. Okay, so you went over. Okay. I'm gonna talk about when you're up 1 or 2. Notepad, so up 1 to 2, you know. Top 500 art, you know. You want to live, peel, and take important. I'm not gonna write that, but take important spots. So when I was VOD reviewing, yeah, I'll just write it, whatever. Import, you know. So when I was VOD reviewing, what's their name? Blank. This was the main thing I was looking at, and a little bit of that, but mainly this, right? And with you, I think it's mainly this, so. And plus maybe this wouldn't have happened if you had a little better game sense, but I know I'm not really to judge. So when you're up 1 or 2, you want to live, peel, take important spots of the map, you know. That means, like, get ready when they're, you know, try to take map control from them, you know, whatever. But so live, because you probably know this, but when you are down, you want to trade, live, and then back orange, you know, orange call back up into important spot of the map, you know. So their backline, or they're like flankers, which they don't have. Kree's technically flanker. That's besides the point. They're gonna be looking to trade your back. Oh, this is bright. It's so dark. So they're gonna be looking to trade for kills. They're gonna look to trade kills, you know. Right. They want to even out the fight, so then they can swing the momentum back in their favor. So when you are up 1 or 2, you do not want to die and let them swing the fight back in their favor. So probably with game sense, you know, you didn't. I knew, but I can just feel, like, when I'm looking, like, I can't really tell what's behind you, but you're playing Mei, whatever. But, like, I can't really tell, but I can just tell you are extended, and that's the power of your ice block and your wall, you know. You kind of use it as, like, a crutch sometimes, but it's not a big deal. Like, so, you know, you're up 1, right? So, up 1 for 2, you know, it's not a great trade, you know. You know, look at their spawn, your spawn, or their spawn, you know, your spawn right here. It's a pretty long walk back. So this is they're gonna get their respawns back first, you know, even though you all die at, like, the same time around, and which is not even a great trade, you know. 1 to 2. I mean, it's fine, but their spawn is like a little closer. Especially with their Lucio, they're gonna speed back. And by dying here, that is even worse. Because, I mean, maybe they trade back the Mei, maybe they don't. That's besides the point. Maybe they didn't, you know. Now you two. So essentially, it's gonna become... I mean, the Ryan will be back before, but it's gonna become a 6v4 versus before it become a 6v6 if they play properly. So you want to live, essentially, because they're gonna be looking for trades. I mean, they probably do not overtly think, oh, let's go for trades, but that's gonna happen. They're gonna look for trades, like in like GM lobby. It's like go for trades, or orange, you know. It's not really besides. Yep, and they get the kill. Okay, but that's not really. It's not really important what happens after. It's because maybe they didn't get the kill, and maybe they staged really fast. Like, let me watch. You know, the Lucio doesn't speed the Reinhardt in, you know, whatever. But you see, like, they are essentially ready to go, and look where you guys are. And this puts your team in a horrible position, because then they have to kite around here to wait for you guys to push back in. So that was essentially a throw play. Unfortunate, you know, whatever. Go next. Maybe you win this fight. Fat Shatter and Urine. They kind of just... And I'm just going to talk about if I was the blue team, you know. We push up right here, right? And we don't let you walk through the choke while having one player on guard. Because you see, open space to a corner, and to push from open space through a corner is really tough. Even though there's like corners around, like position, you know. Blah blah blah, whatever. And then you take the retake, really good. Reinhardt carried it. Yeah. Like I said to you earlier, maybe you wait a couple seconds to ice block. Oh yeah, you have that. It's not really a big deal, but you know you were like slowed for a couple seconds, whatever. And maybe you save the wall for the Reinhardt, who most likely dies here. Yep. Ooh. And then your Kree gets a fucking fat, you know, ult. I don't hate that, actually, you know. Secure the fight by any means. It was practically over, though. I don't know if you need it. But what I really didn't like was how overextended you constantly are. Like, you should be next to the Reinhardt, but a little behind him. Like, you know, as the fight starts, you should be behind him. You know, you're spamming. Then once Ryan pushes in, you bunch up with him, you know. So you don't end up in, like, the middle of nowhere inside the enemy team, because your Reinhardt didn't really want to push in, because normally you walk in front of him. I don't know if it's your team or another team I've auto-reviewed, but like I don't know if it's your Azari, but Azari player would constantly walk in front of the Reinhardt, then get speed boosted on. Nice. You shoot lamp? Nice. Unlucky you get walled off. Not really your fault. So you are up one. You don't want to die. You want to chill a little bit. Because if they get trades, it's a losable fight. I mean, fight's almost over. They're already kited out of choke, but the next fight is most definitely losable. Like the fight where you fed and died, that could have been a losable fight. If like that fight would have been your fault if they would have won that fight, because you staggered your team by getting kills when they were backing out. Like, you don't really need to kill them. And good wall, little, yeah. See, I like could have been this whole unlucky things happen. Maybe you miss it a little bit, or it could have been like Bap jumped over, Diva jumped over. Most likely not, but you know, you just have to be careful that basically the entire team can walk over. And see, like when the wall went off, you were in like middle of nowhere. That's fine, but you just have to ice block and wait for your team to walk up. Yep. Alright, we got like 5 minutes, okay. I'm gonna bet after this. I mean, unlucky, see, but there Mei used the ice block to, or the ultimate, to split you and your Ryan from your team. That's how I'd like you to use it, you know. You don't actually have to get freezes. You can just use it to split their team to make it easier to rush them. Like, you know, cool, 6-man, like, look at this. Like, it's getting freezes, but whatever. But it's making easy kill. They have to kite back, you know. You have to walk forward or else you get frozen, or walk to the side, you know. So I'd like to see, instead of like throwing it in the middle of the team, you know, where the entire team just walks back as a unit, maybe you throw it, you know, behind the team. So then the team has to walk like random directions forward and you can run into them, you know, whatever. Unlucky you die. Be right. Take this corner. Take this corner. Big good head. Take it. Good. I like it. I like it. You are. Yeah. I mean, I don't actually hate you overextending a little bit. You can always ice block, but you know, maybe you don't get the chance to ice block because you get stunned and then just one tapped. And like cracked hit scan players and diamond or whatever, 1 tap, 2 tap, you know, you're dead, whatever. And like, you know, like you should be like, what is this? You know, if I was this Mei, you know, I walk right, I just freeze you. You have to ice block, and that's just a waste, you know. Or if I was this guy, and you know, if I was any better, you know, I flash, I fan, I roll away, like, you know. You probably don't get punished for this. Yep. And then, you know, you do. It just takes a while, like I was talking about in maybe the first video before blue screen, but yeah. You feed. Unlucky, you know. If you were just think of like, I would like 2 things or like 3 things before the fight starts. Like 1, where, you know, I'm just gonna type it out, you know, whatever. So, where is enemy? You know, where's enemy? 1, where is enemy? Yup, so this is probably like the 4th time like I'm making a new video, just go through them, you know. But, you know, so I'm just gonna finish my thought and it's gonna be done. So, I think I was talking about, it's coming, it's gonna, like, oh yeah, crosshair placement, which is not that important, but, so when you're playing, like, make sure you're shooting head level, and I know it was about to become a stall situation, no, I'll just look at the VOD, whatever, I have time. I think it was becoming a stall situation, let me just, yeah, I think it was becoming a stall situation, I don't really remember, let me just turn it to, like, you know, it's become a stall situation. So make sure to focus the people in the stall situation properly. With my epic pen. That is, I don't even need to go back on the VOD, but you know, I'll just go to a wall like I do, and then just write. So, your priorities are 1, tempo changers, / pick killers, / killers, 1-shots. So essentially people who can swap the fight and get a kill. So ults. So this means ults, the 1-shot characters, and mainly 1-shot characters in DPS. Then 2 is sustainers. So Baptiste, Lucio, you know, whatever. So I think that's kinda it. I don't know why my computer's blue screening, but yep. So if you have any questions, you know, ask. Watch these videos while you're like on the toilet or like eating, or maybe while you're playing Overwatch or something. and just try to commit these to memory, you know.